So one of the biggest sort of stereotypes about INTPs is that we are emotionless and that we are almost like robots, with kind of no feelings or anything. But I think if you know any INTPs, then you will probably know that that simply isn't true. And if you are an INTP yourself, which I know I've got quite a few INTP subscribers, so I'm sure that you will know as well as I do that that is simply not true. And so, as you probably know, INTPs are extremely rational creatures. We like to view the world or try and understand the world from a kind of rational viewpoint, and emotions are feelings, and they are not something which can be rationalized really by anybody, let alone by INTPs. And so so I think that it's this conflict between our rational minds and our seemingly irrational feelings, which actually, perhaps on the contrary, makes us INTPs very emotional. Um, but it's always kind of hidden. With INTPs, I think it's always hidden deep inside us. And so, for me, particularly, my emotions are always sort of troubling me in the sense that they are something which that I cannot rationalize, and that we as sort of as a type cannot, simply rationalize them away. And I accept that. I do accept that, and I try not to sort of run away from them. I try to sort of embrace them and try and understand them. So I think this is one of the reasons why I love music so much, because music, it kind of moves me in a way in which nothing else really can do. It kind of speaks to my soul almost. And in particular, I really do like music which is very emotional, either in the content of the lyrics or, like the lyrics themselves, which I find I can connect with sort of poetically, or in the actual music or melody itself. I find that certain songs and certain types of music can just kind of create like this aesthetic experience within me, and it can kind of move me emotionally in a way in which I can't possibly describe, or certainly in a way in which I cannot verbalize or put into words. And I especially like music which is meaningful or intelligently written, something that has a bit of passion to it. And I think music is the only thing really which can make me cry. I mean, I know that sounds a little bit, strange, a little bit of, confessional, but the only times that I can remember crying in my life has been when I've been listening to music, and I've associated that music with certain memories or certain emotions and feelings that I've had. And so yeah, it just seems to me that music which has affected me most has been music which has moved me emotionally in some way, and this is one of the reasons why I am so drawn towards music. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't just like sort of deep and meaningful music. I like music which is just catchy, and you can sort of dance to and has a good beat to it. Songs that you can rock out to, or just sort of sit down and chill out to. But generally, I think the sort of music that I'm more drawn to is the sort of music which can affect me emotionally. Music which is in some way confessional. Like it's almost as if like the artist is showing you a reflection of his or her inner world. So I guess then my perfect song, or my perfect piece of music would be one in which is in some way catchy, I suppose, but also which has a kind of a deep and meaningful depth to it, if you know what I mean, and it's in some ways confessional, and it can stir my emotions. And on top of this, it has to have a good melody, and the person has to be able to sing, otherwise it just wouldn't sound right. So yeah, so I tend to listen to music which reflects my own mood or my own sort of emotional state at that particular time. So if I'm, feeling in a happy mood or whatever, I'll tend to listen to something, something a bit silly or something a little bit upbeat. But yeah, if I'm feeling, in a sort of a self-reflective sort of mood, then I'll listen to something a little bit more deep and meaningful. Possibly my all-time favourite song, and this is by no means easy, but it would probably have to be, I think, Jeff Buckley's version of Hallelujah, because, I mean, to me that song just kind of ticks all of the boxes. It's an amazingly well-written song. It's in some ways extremely deep and meaningful, and sort of existential in its own right. And yeah, it's got really good lyrics. The lyrics are amazing, and yeah, I think it just makes me feel sort of hope and despair at the same time. It kind of really does sort of stir quite a lot of different opposing emotions within me, and so yeah, it's just basically just an all-round amazing song. I mean, as far as like bands go, I'd say my all-time favourite band is a band called Muse, which most of you may or may not know of. But yeah, basically, I heard their song "Showbiz," I think it was, when I was in primary school, and they've pretty much been my favourite band ever since. And I think I must have seen them live about 10 times over the past 10 years or so. But yeah, I mean, I prefer their older stuff, if I'm being honest. Albums like Origin of Symmetry and Absolution. They're like absolute masterpieces. Absolutely fucking genius. But yeah, I do like their last couple of albums too, even though they're a little bit more sort of commercial. They're still really good. And my favourite Muse song would be Bliss, a song called Bliss. I mean, that song is just an absolutely beautiful song. It's, lyrically, again, like Hallelujah, it's full of hope and despair. The kind of the two sort of polar opposites. And the song is kind of about longing for perfection, which I think in some ways, that is what we are all sort of striving towards. And whether the song is about a person or whether it's about being more like somebody, or whether it's longing to be closer to God or closer to the truth, or whatever. I've heard many sort of different interpretations of that song, but at the end of the day, it's down to your personal sort of interpretation of it. And same goes with any sort of piece of music or any song. I mean, that's the beauty of music. It's entirely subjective, and the song could be literally about anything, and as long as you find sort of meaning in it, then that is what the song is about. Also at the moment, I've really sort of the last sort of few months, I've got back into Laura Marling. I mean, I'm pretty much in love with her. She's her music is just like amazing, and her voice is amazing, and I find her lyrics to be really thoughtful and really sort of deep and meaningful, and she, in a way, she kind of talks to my soul. She can speak straight directly to my soul, and yeah, she writes a lot of songs about love and about death and about lots of different things really, and the way she writes about them is really intelligent, and I can connect with her on so many different levels, and I can connect with the lyrics that she writes on so many different levels. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of hers at the moment. I mean, I know I've singled out a few sort of songs and a few bands and Laura Marling here, but really there's too many for me to list, because there's just so many songs, so many types of music which it sort of moved me emotionally, and so yeah, I mean, I guess the whole point of this video was to sort of basically say that music to me is probably the most important thing to me in the world. And I think the reason why it is so important to me is because it it's really the only thing in my life that can kind of move me emotionally, if you understand what I mean. It's the only thing that I can sort of connect with emotionally. And yeah, I really don't know what I'd do without music. And if I couldn't ever listen to music again, or I couldn't play my guitar or piano or whatever, I really don't know what I'd do with my life. That's sort of how important music is to me. So yeah. So if anyone's got any recommendations based on what I've just said, then yeah, I'd love to hear about it. So let me know. And I wonder as well what sort of music other types are drawn to. It doesn't matter whether you're an INTP or not. Just what sort of type of music are you, drawn to? What sort of music connects you? Connects you? What sort of music connects you with your emotional side? So yeah. So if you want to let me know, that'll be great. Cheers.